This is the Maestro FSH. You've probably seen a few videos of it before. This is the one I made from Tonepads with it's got all the mods. This is the on-off, engage, turns it off. The Yamato button is the swaps between filter and sample and hold, and this is the up and down mod, which is also on the Tonepads schematic. So it's got all the mods. I think some of the mods are quite good. Although it does complicate the dials a bit. I think some of the sounds you can get out of the mods are really good. I've also added the LFO LED, and this LED is kind of like a feedback. It shows you when the signal is kind of being drained. I'll show you now if I play something. You can see how it sort of comes back to life. It's good feedback, shows you what's going on, and at the end of the video I actually show you how I wired those up inside if you're building one yourself. But first I'll just go through a few of the sounds that you can get out of it. So this is the sample and hold mode that the pedal does, and at the moment the speed controls the LFO. So you can see as I turn it up, it's getting faster. So start off at a slow setting, just give you an example of the sound. And the up down button actually does make a difference. It changes it slightly. On the down setting, the range starts to get dirty. That's why it sounds a bit sort of distorted a little bit. If we turn the range back, it cleans up. I quite like the dirty sound, to be honest. This is the depth of the effect. At the moment it's actually to the right is subtle and to the left is heavy. So if we turn it back, you'll be able to hear the effect even more. That's pretty self-explanatory. I'll now show you the filter settings. The filter settings with the mods isn't quite as straightforward as the sample and hold. It does some strange things, like particularly with these three knobs here, if they're not set in the right spot, it actually makes it sound like it's basically broken. Like if I turn, at the moment it works. It's actually quite a good effect. Yeah, but if you turn that back, it's not really doing anything. That needs to be up higher to get that sort of sound. Not a very nice effect, that. Bit ear piercing. Yeah, so that's actually one effect that you can get out of it. You can hear what the warp. If we hit the up down button, it'll change it to a different mode. It makes quite a difference with when you're in filter. You hear it's going backwards, the opposite way that it was going before. The speed does nothing significant in this mode. Maybe it does. I only made this pedal a few days back, so I'm still trying to work it out, to be honest. But doesn't like the attack up fall, I've noticed. So that's kind of a broken setting there. Can't really hear anything. Just sounds like it's down a hole. Let's come back to life. And you can do the obvious wire effects with this too. If you have a look at some of the other videos on YouTube, it's got people doing the using it as an auto wire and not doing these sort of crazy sounds like I'm doing now. Just like a more traditional auto wire. I'll just talk a few technical things next about the inside, but that's basically the demo of the pedal. Just with the LEDs on the front, I just sort of had to play around to find out where the LFO is with an LED, and I found a pretty good spot for it. This LED I actually intended to be just on and off for when you hit the up down button, and it does that, but it also does, as you just saw, it shows you the level of the effect, which is a bonus, so I didn't know I was going to do that, and it's actually quite useful. So yeah, I'll just show you where to wire them up in case you're building it yourself and you want to do the LEDs. The LFO LED, I sort of stumbled upon a way to get it working, and it's not that obvious. If you use a resistor in series with the LED to ground, you have to use a 1K resistor. If you use a higher value resistor, it just permanently stays on. Now this looks like a huge mess of wires, but if you're building this board, you'll probably know where this is. I think it's one of the op amps, but this IC on its own on the right, above where the Max 1044 is, if you wire it up to the seventh pin, that's for the LFO, and then run that to a 1K resistor, you'll get the flashing LFO. And I also tested with the tone. I had a switch, I was switching it on and off, and it didn't affect the tone in any way. And then this sort of emphasis LED, I wired that. I actually just did this the other day, and I wired that to this one here, which is again pin 7 on the other op amp, and yeah, that'll just come on and off when you turn the switch on, and it will show you the feedback of the actual effect. And one final point too, if you're building this yourself, instead of using, I actually had a Max 1044 originally, and I was playing around looking for these LEDs, and it burnt out. It just, I don't know if I shorted something out or what happened, but I killed it. So instead of putting another Max 1044 in, though, I put in an LT 1054, which is the same thing as a Max 1044, except it has a maximum of 15 volts instead of the Max only has a maximum of 9 volts. So it's easier to work with. So if you're building it, and it's cheaper too. It's at half the price of the Max, which is about $4 or $5. This one's only about $2, I think. Yeah, I definitely recommend using the LT 1054. So that's the FSH. It's really good. I was playing around with it yesterday, and I was getting some really good effects, really good sounds out of it with a bunch of other pedal lineup. Sorry, a bunch of other pedals in a lineup, and I'll probably do some a multi-effect video including it and showing some examples of yeah, what sort of sounds you can get out of it. But anyway, that's the demo. Hope you liked it, found it informative. Thanks for watching.